Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning in to the Sovereign Path. So today I'm just gonna jump on and do a quick video. You know, I get a lot of comments on my other social media feeds besides this YouTube channel, which is still, you know, pretty young and doing its thing as it grows. But I get comments from time to time, and I got one yesterday that are really angry. My dog's in here again. That are really angry, you know, and they're just sort of around, you know, this is all bullshit. The Twin Flame Path is a lie. The Twin Flame Path is this or that or the other. The Divine Masculine doesn't really care about you. You need to move on. You need to let this go. A lot of, you know, sort of wounded comments, you know, coming from those wounded aspects of the self. And I wanted to just make a video on that today, because I've touched a little bit here and there in some of the videos in my past and in the past so far on this channel that are speaking to needing to really pay attention if this is the experience that you're having, right? And this is why I say this, and I know that this is why a lot of other coaches mention this as well. There's also a need on this path, and I do my best to mention this from time to time, but we really need to drop the label, right? We need to drop the twin flame label. This is something that I did on my own path a couple of years ago. It just started to feel like too definitive. It started to feel like, you know, the whole twin flame community was just sort of putting itself in this kind of exclusive box, for lack of a way of saying that. And I think a lot of people that are on this path, that are truly on this path, start to get that kind of distaste in your mouth a little bit, hearing that word. It just starts to feel like this doesn't describe the path that I'm on. It doesn't describe the journey that I'm on. This is really sort of stereotyped, and the hype around twin flames has gotten like largely out of control over the last few years. And so, as I've spoken about before, because this path is largely misunderstood, and people do see it as, largely people see this as, you know, the best romantic partner ever, you know, the end all be all, this is the thing that you want to do. It's kind of like the twin flame is the new soulmate, right? The twin flame is the one that you're supposed to find because this is the new soulmate. You know, soulmates were the thing, you know, however many years ago that was like the thing. You want to find your soulmate. And even then, people saying that don't understand that we have a massive soul family and that you have tons of soulmates. We all have tons of soulmates, right? It's not just one soulmate that anyone has, but we have this idea, or we used to have this idea, that that was the case. And so the twin flame, although you do only have one twin flame in this incarnation, the twin flame has sort of taken that role of this is the only one that you can be with, you know, the whole thing, and blah, blah, blah. And so it's just kind of gotten blown out of proportion, and people don't understand that this is an ascension process. This is an awakening process. This is a process where your soul has come in and said, hey, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to go through the alchemical process. It's time for you to have all of this energetic shift within you and to come out of the separation consciousness, right? To come out of the wounds and all of those things that you've been running. So it's not a twin flame path in the way that we like to sort of describe it. This is an ascension path. And so one of the most important things is dropping that label and all the connotations that sort of surround it, that are distorted, that are dysfunctional, that keep us in the lower self paradigm, that keep us in that chasing, you know, that overactive, wounded masculine energy within us. This is the reason that we chase, because we're out of balance. And all of those things. And to really have that awareness that This is just my awakening. This is just my spiritual awakening. And for whatever reason, I chose to experience it in this way, in this incarnation, right? I, as me, as a soul, right? As a multidimensional energetic being, chose before I incarnated here to experience my spiritual awakening like this, with my other self. That's all that this is. You know, and we blow it up to be something more than it is and sort of sensationalized. And this is why, you know, I see comments from time to time from people who are in a very wounded place and are thinking that this path is something that it isn't. And so due to that, they go down a path that creates potentially a lot of heartache or a lot of unnecessary pain in that way. And so I'm going to keep driving it home in every video that I make that the twin flame path is your spiritual awakening. It is your ascension process. Regardless of how your twin flame dynamic is playing out, and we'll get into that in videos as I move forward, because as I said in the video I made the other day, how to let go, there are several paths, I don't want to say several, there are a couple paths that twin flames take, right? It's not a one size fits all. This is not a homogenized path. I've said that before as well. So really, for a lot of you out there who know that this is the experience that you're having, and you know that you are going through a spiritual awakening, you're having the energetic shifts, all of these things are occurring within you. I suggest that one of the best things for you to do is to start resonating with and aligning with that this is your awakening, right? This is your awakening. And this is your other self, your incarnate same soul who is assisting you with that awakening. That's what this is, right? And the romantic aspects of it are entwined within it. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not downing that or misplaying that in any way. But what I'm saying is that when we're looking at this, or when this is being touted or misleading in a way that's saying that this is your romantic partner and this is the reason they showed up in your life, and if these things aren't happening and they're not reflecting back to you all the things that you want, then somehow this is toxic, or somehow this is whatever else. The issue is that you're just not understanding that this is your awakening. That this is your awakening, and that's what this is. And that's why I keep saying it over and over and over again, so that we can really understand that what it is and what it isn't. Because if it's not what you think it is, and if you're thinking that this is a path that is leading towards some sort of best romantic partner ever, and there's no spiritual work within it, and there's no ascension going on, you know, there's no healing or clearing, there's no mission, there's no purpose, there's no higher purpose, there's no higher consciousness coming online, there's no higher awareness coming online, your world isn't shifting for the better, self-love isn't like your aim, and suddenly you're in inner union and you're starting to feel amazing, right? Those things happen in procession and transitionary over time. But these are the keys to know if you're on a twin flame path, if you're experiencing yourself, activating yourself to go through a spiritual awakening. Because if a lot of these things aren't happening, then you haven't met a twin flame. And so I just kind of need to make a point on that, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who are having a difficult time thinking that they are on this path when they're not. So, you know, every path that anyone is the path that they're meant to be on. So if you're not a twin flame, but you feel like you are, that's still the path that your soul is leading you to take, because there are lessons within that you need to have in this incarnation. And at some point you will understand, which I know a lot of people on this path have, at some point it will be like an aha moment of like, wow, I thought I was on a twin flame path for however long, And then I realized at some point that I wasn't, right? And that's not a good or a bad or a right or a wrong. This thing is hard. This thing is hard. Very, very, very hard. So if you find that you are not a twin flame and you are not a twin flame path, count your blessings and move on with your life and meet a soulmate, you know? Have that high vibrational situation with someone else, you know, as you move forward in your life. Keep focusing on that self-love, you know, keep focusing on that inner union and doing the things that are best for you, you know, because at some point it's going to be very obvious where you're at in regard to whether or not you're having an awakening experience or whether you're having an experience that's for a lesson, which potentially in that case would be karmic. And there's nothing wrong with that either. You know, we all have tons of karmic soulmate connections. We all do. There's nobody on this earth that's incarnate that does not have some sort of karma that they have been working out through whatever, however many lifetimes, that you're not going to run up against or hit up against in this lifetime if it isn't or hasn't been resolved, even if that's just one or two small things. Some people have mountains of karma and karmic relationships that they're still working on. Some people just have a couple. But karmic relationships, as I've said tons of times in the past, and I've done so many videos on these on my other channel as well, karmic relationships are a gift. They are a blessing because they are shifting you out of patterns and programs that you have been running that have been keeping you small. And the reason that karmics continue to show up in our lives in all sorts of different relationships is to set us free from whatever karmic baggage that we have been dragging around, right? So if you find that this is more of a karmic situation that you are on, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is part of your soul growth. It's part of your path. It's part of your soul's evolution, and it is being guided by your higher self. Whatever's going on is still being guided by your higher self, however that is showing up. So it's not like everyone that's incarnate at this time is a twin flame. They aren't. They aren't. Not everybody is incarnate as a twin flame. And as I said, I think for a lot of people, it just sounds like that's kind of the way to go and that's the best thing ever. For a lot of people, soulmates are the best thing ever. You know, this isn't like this is the good thing and this is the bad thing and it's a soul growth thing. No matter what it is and no matter where you're at on your path, this is soul growth. So when I get comments like that, you know, I would like to address them because I don't want anyone to suffer. You know, I don't want anyone to feel like they're just going round and round and round and continue, you know, sort of, you know, running into the same wall over and over again, repeating patterns and feeling like, you know, I get a lot of comments are just like, this is hell. I wouldn't wish this path on anybody. This is the worst experience that I've ever had. You know, all of these sort of things about twin flames. And so I would just ask yourself, you know, if you find that you are in that situation, where that's coming from, you know, what's going on with your thoughts, what's going on with your wounds, you know, where that pain is coming from. And if it's coming from a place that's saying like, we need to heal this, we need to look at this, you know, this is an abandonment wound, or this is a self-worth wound, or this is a lack of self-love, and the list goes on with how many wounds that we potentially could be carrying. And is this person reflecting back to me a way that is assisting me to break free from this, right? What's going on within me? Why am I seeing this pop up in my life? So instead of looking at that other person like this is hell and you're causing me all this problem and blah, 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 and all these sort of things, and you know, if we would just get back together, everything would be great. The best thing is to notice, no matter what path you're on, is that whatever is going on in my external reality, whatever is going on within my thoughts, right? Whatever is going on within my emotions is coming from within me. Right? It's coming from something within me that I need to face. So the twin flame path is for those of you who aren't on it and who want to be on it or think that maybe you're on it. It's riddled with triggers. A karmic may be 1 or 2 triggers, you know. A karmic may be 1 or 2 issues that you just keep going over and over and over, and you're on repeat, no matter who you date or who you marry, or, you know, what kind of a relationship that you have with your mom or your sister or your brother or whoever. You keep hitting that same wall with karmic situations because there's something within you that you haven't faced. And once you break that, then usually those relationships fizzle and you move forward, having learned that lesson. This is why karmics can go round and round and round and round and round, because a lot of times we don't want to face what's coming up, and we're blaming the other person for what's coming up instead of paying attention to what's going on within us and why we're being triggered. But twin flames, as I've said before, and for those people who are still kind of wondering what this is or what this isn't, besides the fact that it is a full-blown spiritual awakening and you will be having all of the symptoms that go along with that, with the spiritual awakening, is that your twin flame is going to trigger all your wounds. They're going to reflect back all the places in you that you've been playing small. And although in a lot of ways, and they're doing that for you to clear that stuff, for you to transmute it, for you to heal it, for you to recognize and remember that that's not me. These are just wounds and programs that I have been running, right? Your twin flame is pushing you to be the best version of you, because that's who they know you as. That's who you are as a soul, the best version of you, right? This is the point of an awakening. It's to pull you out of the wounds and out of all of the pain. It's not to create more. Twin flames are not creating more pain in your life, right? They're not toxic. It's not a toxic situation. You know, so if you're finding yourself in a toxic situation that's causing you pain after pain after pain after pain, that's probably karmic. You know, it's probably karmic. Twin flames, although it's a very difficult road, it's difficult because it's making you face all your shit. And the ego mind and the woundings don't generally like doing that. They don't generally want to do it. But the twin flame, that dynamic, is the ascension process. And what it's doing is it's bringing out all of your self-love. It makes you love yourself in ways that a lot of us never even thought were possible. The amount of self-love that comes online when you're in a true twin flame dynamic is indescribable. Does that happen in the beginning? No. Does it happen in the middle? You can see glimpses of it. Does it happen towards the end? Full on. And that's what makes this path so worth it. It sets you free, right? On all levels and in all ways. So if that's not what you're experiencing, you know, that feeling of my twin flame triggered me again, let me see where this is coming from, right? Let me go within and figure out what's going on. This is my same soul reflecting back to me something that's going on within me that my ego mind does not want to release. Let me see what that is. And let me go in and understand that and transmute it and release it, right? This is what's going on in this dynamic. And as this goes on, your vibration starts to organically rise, right? And you start to come into a place, even if it's just glimpses here and there along the road until you finally anchor into inner union, you're gonna have those glimpses along this path of bliss. You'll have those glimpses of remembering of who you are. You're gonna have those feelings of just being complete soul and in soul alignment. They may be a minute, they may be 2 minutes, but you're going to have them. Your soul is going to show you those because they're showing you those to remind you this is who you are and this is why we're walking this path. Don't forget, this is why we're walking this path. It's like dangling the carrot in front of the horse. Keep going. That feeling that you just had that was absolutely amazing, that no one elicited outside of you, that no external material thing created, it just came from within you. That feeling of bliss and of awe and of peace and of man and of all that shit, that's you. That's your soul. That's coming back into soul alignment. That is part of this twin flame path. awakening is this twin flame path. It's not here to create pain. It is not here to have any sort of toxicity or interactions that are very toxic or abusive in that sort of way. That is a karmic situation. If you're finding yourself in those, abusive or toxic situations, those potentially need outside assistance, right? I'm not qualified for that kind of outside assistance. But so I wanted to just kind of make that clear. And I know that these videos, I try to sort of steer clear of them because I know that they can be very confronting for a lot of people. They can be very triggering for a lot of people and bring up a lot of those wounds potentially and a lot of anger. And I know that that's why comments like that get left, like I say, because those wounds are being touched. Those things are being scratched. And I know that the ego mind hates that, doesn't really like that. But just know that regardless of what kind of interaction that you're having, your soul is still guiding you to have those interactions for your best and highest good. And then it's up to you to have that reflection, no matter if it's a soulmate, it's a karmic, or it's a twin flame, to have that reflection of, okay, something is going on within me that this person, whoever it is reflecting back to me that I need to look at, because whatever is showing up in my external reality is coming from within, right? As within, so without. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's the case. That's the way it is. We are master creators on this planet. No matter if you're a twin flame, if you're a soulmate, or none of that shit matters. We are all energetic, eternal beings. We are all master creators, and we are all creating our reality at any given moment, at all times, right? And so anything that's out of alignment with that higher creation that is us, your soul is going to make sure that someone from your soul family, whether that be soulmate, karmic, or twin, come in and reflect something back to you that is keeping you out of that highest and best good and that alignment with soul, right? So my point here is that you don't have to be a twin flame to be in inner union. You don't have to be a twin flame to be in soul alignment. This isn't like some other special team, that certain people get to be on and other people don't. No matter where you're at, it's being guided by your higher self. It's just that some people are on a spiritual awakening in this lifetime. For some souls, this is their last lifetime. I'm going to get in that in other videos. For other souls, this is one of their first lifetimes. And this is the beginning of their ascension path, right? And their ascension process. And so the twin flame is triggering that, Some people have full-blown awakenings without any twin flame involved whatsoever, because that's not what they need in this lifetime. A lot of twin flames incarnate as twin flames because they're too damn stubborn and their egos are too big that they need their other self to come in and break them. Me being one of those, Aries. My twin flame is a Taurus. Anybody that knows about astrology can figure that one out really quick. My ego was too big and it was too strong, and my masculine energy was also too strong. And I used to tell myself, nobody can break me. Nobody can get through to me. The defenses and the walls, they were up everywhere. Who could get to me and who could break through those walls and who wouldn't yield to me and who was had an even stronger push than me? The Taurus. Who else, right? The Taurus. So we have to remember that we are being guided at all times for our highest good. It's our ego likes to come in and try to control things and try to control this path and act like it knows what the hell's going on. It doesn't. Your ego mind has no clue what's going on here. And that's the other thing that gets us all tied up in knots, is because we're trying to understand it based on old templates that we've run from old situations. And then we just get going round and round, and then we read this thing and we read this thing, and then we get more confused and all of that sort of stuff. So that's all I really have to say about it. Just know that you're being guided regardless of what type of path that you're on. And so surrender into that. you know. Surrender into the fact that whatever you need at any given time, your soul is showing you that in one way or another, through one person here or a soul family member there, whatever it might be, that will assist you to your highest and greater good. Your soul is never trying to make things hard. They're never trying to make things like painful or toxic. You know, the twin flame path is not supposed to be some awful, hellish ride, right? It's the ego and the wounds and the karmic situations that we're still running within us that make us feel that way. Those are the things that need to be faced, and that's why this path has come online, so that you can release those things. So that's what I have for you guys. Have an awesome day.